what's up? It's YouTube. Can you guys hear me? Let's get this out of the way right from the start. Can everybody hear me okay? Yep, all right. Good deal. Let's do this. All right. Well, we were planting corn. We were down in our fields in Berkey, Ohio, and Toledo is like that way, like a mile. Well, I mean, it's like 2 miles to Sylvania suburbs, which means we have excellent cell phone service, so I shouldn't cut out at all tonight. In fact, we have 5G, awesome cell phone service, which I've never had for a live stream before, so looking forward to this one. Yeah, let's just get started here. Let me get my chat settings right to make sure we're on all and see how it's going. Hello from Illinois. How did your day going today? Well, it's been a rough day. Let's just say that. Things are going much better here this afternoon, but if you watched this morning's video, you know I ended the day last night with some computer issues on the planter. I started the day with some computer issues on the planter. Took me a long time to get going. I then had other issues develop, which you will see all about tomorrow, I think, or at least some of, because I got pretty frustrated earlier and just quit filming for a while. But that'll happen. So everything's running now. It's not quite running like it's supposed to be, but we are putting seed in the ground, and we're covering some acres finally. So let's see, where am I at? This particular field we're in now has about 95 acres in it. I have 63 of them done. I also planted 78 acres across the ditch earlier, 72 acres, 78 acres, something like that, earlier this afternoon. So we've covered a little bit of ground. I'm not quite up to 150 yet, but 130-ish acres so far today, and we got a little ways to keep going yet. It's raining in Indiana right now. It is not raining in Ohio. So earlier, like 4 or 5 days ago, they were calling for rain all week at one point, and the chances have just dissipated and backed off all over the weekend. And then finally, was that yesterday, Sunday, we got a clear forecast for the rest of the week. Now, I don't know if that'll hold, but at least for today and tomorrow, it looks like it's going to, and we'll be able to keep moving, which is good. So we should, fingers crossed, finish planting corn by Wednesday. Been raining in Illinois all day. Yeah, I saw something on Facebook showing rain totals in Illinois, like a lot. Like some places inch to 3 inches. So any guesses for where I'm at? Well, I already gave that one away, didn't I? Good guess, though. Done planting yesterday around 3:30. Now it's raining here in Eastern Indiana even. I haven't looked at the radar to see where the rain's at, but it's not raining here. So Southern Ohio, welcome to the channel, everybody. Thanks for joining my live stream. Have you heard about the gas shortage? Well, I have, as far as the East Coast goes. I know there was something with a Russian pipeline, or Russians hacked a pipeline, something along those lines. I've seen all the Facebook memes of people filling gas containers and bags and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I did buy gas today on my way down here, and I paid $2.98 a gallon for it, but I got it, so I guess I won't complain too much. Syracuse, New York, welcome. Hampton Roads area in Virginia. France, awesome. Did you sell your seed tender? Yeah, so I kind of made a big deal about that day, that I would have it sold by the time you guys saw the video, and then I never actually posted it. I just didn't get around to taking pictures, haven't had time. Phil said something about, maybe we better just leave it there in case we needed it for something. I don't know, might come in handy. We are going to sell it, I just haven't yet, and so when I get some downtime, we'll get some pictures of that and get it sold. Raining all day everywhere, apparently. Not from here, not here. Good evening from Dayton, Ohio. 1.25 inch rain. Wow. From Nova Scotia. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Dry here. Northeast Ohio. Yeah. Just now got the notice you went live. Did they get your basement floor poured? I don't know. And Brandon, I've been live for all of 5 minutes, so you're just joining at the right time. I don't know if they poured concrete today or not. I have not been around there. We're down in Berkey. They're 35 miles that way, so maybe not. I kind of hope so. We'll check it out sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. David, awesome, man. Thank you for that super chat. You don't need to do that every time, but I certainly really appreciate it, and you watching my videos every day. Thank you very much. Did the old seed drills sell? Yes, the drills did sell, and that was kind of part of the joke about the seed tender, was because I listed those drills for sale on Facebook, and they sold. A guy came and looked at, or told me he was coming within a half hour. He came later that night and bought them. Same thing with the backhoe. I listed it within a half an hour. Somebody told me they were on their way. They came and bought that. So it seems every time I list something online for sale, it sells in a hurry, and probably selling it too cheap, but we've been happy with it. So 309 a gallon in Southwest Kansas. That's pretty close to 2 something. Oh look, there's my mom. When's Dad coming home? Dad is on his way home now, Mom. He brought my truck. He should be there relatively soon. And no, basement not poured. So apparently they did not come today. All right, no rain here. Northern Illinois, we seem to miss it. Are you dry there in Northern Illinois, Scott? Are you hoping it rains? Do you have an idea when the new home will be finished? Well, I do have an idea. We're supposed to be finished, and on our schedule that the builder gave us, the move-in date or key turnover date is December 13th. That said, we're already a week behind schedule, but we were 2 weeks behind schedule, waiting on the walls. They got a lot done last week. They get the basement floor and the garage floor poured this week. I thought maybe today, maybe tomorrow. The framers are next, and they might be able to get us back on schedule and catch up. I heard that they are chomping at the bit to get here, so hopefully we'll stick to that December time frame, but I'm not really expecting to be in by the end of the year, so we'll see. Videos show that you guys maintain equipment so well. Yeah, well, and maybe that's part of it. I don't know. The backhoe, it wasn't, because I'm pretty sure that guy had never seen my videos. But if me taking care of my equipment means it sells better, then it's worth it, right? Yeah, somewhat dry. Need to get it down before summer, but it's always the summer. Yeah. So you guys might remember back in March we were doing a bunch of tillage work. Let me turn this so you guys can see something actually exciting. So back in March we were doing a bunch of tillage work, and it was super dry then, drier than we've ever been in March. And I got a lot of questions about whether I was concerned about it being a drought and dry and stuff. And well, I wasn't then, and I'm not now, because it turned off wet and we're still barely able to get our crops in the ground. So I've been fighting a nagging cough the last couple of days. Talking for an hour straight here is not going to help that. So I apologize now, and I'm going to drink a lot of water. Try that. All right. I too bad your dad can't make all the lumber you need for the house. You might be able to build 2 houses then. Yeah, he can't do it all, but he has talked about, well, he did our flooring. He's talked about doing some other stuff. And he's making that cabinet for his bathroom in his basement now. And so I'm not going to have him do any of the main floor finish stuff, because we just want to get it done and not wait on that. But when it comes time to finish our basement, I'm going to have him cut up a bunch of 2x4s out of some soft maple, and maybe we'll do a lot more stuff ourselves instead of buying it for that. Be a good deal. Are you doing in-floor heat in your basement as well as your garage? I wish I'd done that in my basement. Yes. So the radiant floor heat tubes are all laid. That's all done. We're waiting for the concrete to get poured, but the heating tubes and everything are in. It's a little expensive, but my wife and I have been trying to prioritize things that can't be done later, right? And you cannot put in-floor heat into a house that is already there. It's just not possible. So that was one of the must-haves that we decided it was worth doing it now. Hope you show in detail, like when you dissected the plants growing again this year. Yeah, I can certainly do that. How close are you to being done planting? Well, like I was saying, I will finish at Berkey tomorrow, barring something major going wrong, which after this morning is not out of the question. But we should get done here tomorrow pretty easily, even if I screw around doing a plot, which I have left space to do a plot. And then I need one good day at Waldron. Now, it'll probably end up being 2 days. It's about 230 acres, so it's not a ton to do yet. I could do it in one good day, but if I can get back early enough tomorrow to plant one of those fields, or at least get a little bit of it done, then we'll for sure be able to get done on Wednesday. Otherwise, it'll be Thursday. Of course, it'll probably rain between now and then, and we'll have to wait. As far as beans go, I'm not exactly sure where Phil's at. He's down here planting now. He should finish here tomorrow as well. But I don't know how much more he's got left to do up to Waldron. There's a couple of big chunks that need to be done yet, and I would guess 3 to 4 days back at Waldron. So we could be done by the weekend if it holds off that long. I don't know if it's going to stay dry that long. If something happens to you and you can't farm, you would be one heck of an equipment salesman. Yeah. Well, so I've done the seed sales thing, right? And I've always kind of said I would be a much better John Deere salesman than I am a seed salesman. And that's partially true. I would be a much better John Deere salesman on the stuff that I know, but I know nothing about lawnmowers or forage choppers or, dairy equipment. And I also have a tendency to push the nice, really, like, you want the leather seats and you want the signature package and the really nice stuff. And I don't know if that makes me a good salesman or somebody that's never going to sell anything because people don't want to pay for it, but yeah, I've had that thought before. Working for a John Deere dealer wouldn't be the worst job in the world. Not that I'm looking. Yeah, I'm too cheap for Yeti, Scott, but this one works pretty good too. I drank 1.5 of those yesterday. Probably not good. All right, I got to do a little bit of end rows here, so bear with me. Seems Phil marches to his own drum a little bit. I mean, good or bad, we all kind of have our own jobs. We do our own thing and try to stay out of each other's way, help each other when needed and when we can, but I'm not going to tell Phil what to do, and he doesn't tell me what to do. So that all works. We get along well, and everybody does their thing. So I'm worried about getting the corn planted right now. As long as he's moving with getting the beans planted, that's good. And beans aren't quite as time sensitive and critical as corn is. So we'll get there. Pay attention. East house. East house. There. Alright, where was I? Sorry, you're fine, man. Where's Brock today? So Brock was here this morning. He had to leave at 4, a little after 3 from down here because he's got to work tonight. So County paramedic. He should be around tomorrow. It sounds like he was trying to get tomorrow night off so that he could stick around longer. But we'll see. So he did come down and run the disc for a little while today. I don't know that he made it into the video. Maybe a little bit this morning. How well are your actual input costs matching forecasted costs? Seems like everything has increased. Right, well, so the nice thing about 2021 here is that we've had a drastic increase in grain prices, right? And that started late fall, more so through the winter. And so a lot of the inputs were pretty reasonable last fall. Our seed prices were reasonable. We got our chemicals bought in January at pretty good prices. We got a lot of fall broadcast fertilizer put on last fall, relatively cheap compared to now. And we locked in our starter and our anhydrous needs for spring fertilizer stuff in January and paid for it. And so we got prices, like fertilizer prices, more than doubled since we bought ours. So one of the nice things about having on-farm storage, or the ability to apply it ourselves and not relying on the retailer to do it, is that we can take advantage of that stuff. And so we've locked in our inputs relative to grain prices pretty cheaply. And 21 looks like it's got potential, assuming we can produce some bushels, to be fairly profitable. It's 22 that I'm terrified of right now, because those inputs have gone up so much and they're only going to continue to do it going into the fall, and next year's crop is going to be a lot more expensive to plant than this year's was. Good to see you live, Scott. Glad you made it. Just finished 130 acre field. Just getting folded up to do another 200. Nice. As of now, we have approximately 500 acres of corn and 700 acres of beans. Nice. Getting right down to the end of it then. I am down to, let's see, 230 plus 40. That's 270, plus there's 72 across the road. 342 plus whatever's in this field. 28. 370? Something like that. Don't remember seeing a lot of semi-maintenance on video. Must be pretty reliable. Well, Phil does all of our trucking throughout the winter and stuff, so he takes care of the maintenance on the trucks, or we take them somewhere to get that done. I know nothing about semis and maintenance on them, so I don't do it. My Uncle Jack, who is occasionally in the videos and I talk about, he's a retired roadway mechanic, like worked on trucks for a living for 30 years or more. So he helps out with that stuff sometimes, so it's not something that I do, so you don't see it filmed very much. But the other thing is, the amount of miles that we put on semis is nothing compared to an over-the-road truck, so yeah, the maintenance is pretty minimal. Phil's been getting some rims shined up or painted and changing tires on some of the trailers and stuff here the last few weeks, but no, it hasn't been a lot of maintenance. What's the pressure in tires planting? What tires are we talking about, Michael? Combine, tractor, planter. Do you have any corn on corn acres? I do have a few corn on corn acres. We planted those 3 weeks ago. Just about 100 acres that we're doing corn on corn, and that's a artifact yet of the 2019 crop year, when we had a ton of preventive plant and we didn't have very many corn acres. We were super heavy soybean acres that year, and so last year we were heavy corn acres because of the rotational side of stuff, and so we ended up trying to even it back out so that our corn and bean split is almost 50-50, and that required doing 100 acres of corn on corn this year. Do you help Phil when you are done? So I help him. I mean, usually he runs the planter still. and I can help tender, or we'll do some tillage if there's still tillage that needs to be done, which there's not much. I think we only have 2 fields left that need any tillage work done. So kind of, but as soon as we're done planting corn, it's going to be time to hook the anhydrous bar up and start side dressing that early planted stuff. That stuff is coming up. It looks about this tall now. If you can row it, driving down the road, the fields are turning green. It's beautiful, and we're going to have to get the nitrogen on pretty soon. So that's probably next week's project. What hobbies do you do when done planting? I say that like there's nothing to do on the farm after done planting. So like I just said, we'll start side dressing. As far as hobbies though, if we're not in the fields this weekend, I shouldn't even say this because my wife might be watching, but it's possible that there's a lake weekend in my future here this week, and I have to get the boat out. It's supposed to be like 80s here on Thursday and Friday. A little cooler into the weekend, but that might happen. Outside of that, hobbies, I don't know. I work, hang out with my kids. Hi, Don. You need to get, see, there you go, boat. Will you plant double crop beans after wheat this summer? Yes, I'm planning on it. So our wheat had been looking a little bit ahead of normal growth-wise, and so I'm thinking wheat harvest will be a little bit earlier. The cold weather the last few weeks has sort of slowed it down, though. So we'll see when the wheat gets out of the field. But with the price of beans and where everything is at, yeah, double crop beans are going to happen, and it's going to be a lot of double crop bean acres this year. So I've got one field that we kind of set aside knowing that we were intending to double crop it. That one's a little over 100 acres. I would not shy away from doing more if we have the opportunity, though. It just depends on when the wheat gets combined and how quickly they can get the straw baled off, and whether we have any moisture to get the beans growing or not. So yes, how much? Not sure. How's the corn doing? Depends on what corn you're talking about. Most of it's all good. That early planted stuff, basically everything from before we planted on Friday is up. It's starting to look good. It's growing. Heat and sunshine was exactly what it needed, and that's what we've gotten this week. So the corn crops that were planted early are looking good. I'm really excited to get a break to go back and look at those early planted soybeans, those March beans, because they got to be just looking awesome this week. And if they're not, we got problems. How many passes do you do on the end rows? 2. If you watched my video this morning, you would already know that, Michael. Just kidding, you're fine. When are we going to see the anhydrous bar? Like I said, maybe next week. I'm probably way behind in the chat, so I apologize. Why I thought it looked like a Yeti. My mistake, yeah. I am way behind. Will you convert your planter into a high-speed planter? I will not convert my planter into a high-speed planter. And here is why. I would love a high-speed planter, an exact merge. I think it would be awesome. I think it would be better. I think it would do a better job. But here's the list of things on this planter that I don't like or would change if I could change them. Electric drive, high speed, hydraulic downforce instead of air downforce, row cleaners instead of no-till coulters, different closing system. I would have in-furrow fertilizer and 2x2x2 instead of just 2x2 fertilizer. What else? That might be it. But there's 7 different things that I would order different on a planter if I was ordering a new planter or looking for a different planter. It would cost me more to add those things to this planter than the planter is worth. And so rather than trying to retrofit and upgrade this one into what I really want it to be, we're going to wait until it's time to upgrade planters and get what I want that way. I know a lot of people have put those high-speed retrofit kits on and stuff, and they work, and they're probably a little bit cheaper to do that than to buy a new planter or to trade. But I don't think with all the stuff that I would want to do that that's the case necessarily. And when you do that, you still end up with a 8-year-old planter that has a ton of acres on it, just with new row units, basically. So, plus, here's the other thing. Today is the 7th day that I've been in this planter this spring. had a big day yesterday and been able to plant what I wanted to plant yesterday, we could have finished planting corn in 8 days. It's going to be 9 now. How much faster do I really need to go? I mean, 8 days is pretty quick to plant an entire corn crop. And the other thing is, we can barely find dry ground as it is now. Like, the fields that I am going into to plant are just barely dry enough. This field here has soft spots and ends and spots that I probably shouldn't even be out here, but it's time to go. We gotta go. And I don't have anything that's drier. So giving fields a little bit of time to dry out is not a bad thing, and I don't have that need for a high-speed planter. I want a high-speed planter, I don't need one. And it's hard to justify the $300,000 price tag on a new planter when you don't have that need. So, yeah, that's where I stand on those. How has the house been going, staying on schedule? Well, we got a little behind schedule on the house when the wall guys didn't come for 2 weeks, but last week they got a lot done and we're getting caught back up, so things are going well. What planter is that? This is a John Deere 1770 NT, 16 row, 30 inch. It's 2013 model, I think. Killer t-shirt with a CH-47 Chinook helicopter on it. Yeah, you like this shirt? Let's see, can you see the back? It's so for those of you that don't know, my brother-in-law is in the Michigan Army National Guard, and he's been overseas in the Middle East for the past year, almost left 4th of July last year, and he's a pilot. He flies Chinooks, and so yeah, shirts for him. Have you found out who drove on your farm fields? I have not. Haven't really tried or looked into it, but no update there. Good to see you're about done. Just ring here in Southern Illinois. Be safe. Thank you. I don't know who drove on them. I assume it was the hunters. Good afternoon. When you guys figure out about tire tracks? Nothing. Well, you guys are really interested in that. I don't know anything more about it than what I posted the other day. Did you say grain prices were crashing the other day? Are they still going down? Yeah, they did the other day. Things were off about $1 from the high. I honestly have not looked today, and that was on Friday, so I don't know what the markets did today, whether things have recovered or not yet. But either way, $1 off of $7.50 corn to make it $6.50 corn is still really high-priced corn. So it's pretty hard to complain about. You guys see that? You're going to be on YouTube tomorrow. Everybody wave. I assume when I get to this point in the comment section, there's going to be a bunch of hand waving emojis now. You know, it's like a Zoom meeting. All right. Doesn't all the talk or chalk just fall to the bottom when you're out in the field? I assume you're talking about talc that we put in as a seed lubricant. And it does not just fall to the bottom. It actually sticks to the seeds and coats them pretty good. Some of it does dust off or make dust, especially in the vacuum lines. But honestly, I haven't even been using talc since we got this new tender and it doesn't have an applicator on it yet. I just kind of forget about it, and so I haven't been using it, and I haven't had any issues. I will use it when I get that applicator, but it hasn't caused me any problems yet. So, North Carolina corn planting going bad, go stuck. I assume that means it's wet there. Are you planting corn test plots this year? Yes, Ed. So we did the test plots on Friday. My plots at Waldron. Quite extensive plot work up there. And then I've left spot in this field for another corn plot, a small one, just 10 entries. And I'm hoping to plant that one tomorrow. I may try and get a bean plot in down here, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Just saying thanks. I understand you have a ton of ideas. Just saying thanks. I understand you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Tractor tires. Tractor tires are running whatever tractor tires are supposed to have in them. I assume these rears have 15 to 18 pounds in them, something like that. Wayne Perry, I'm a home builder in Ontario. Yes, Wayne, I remember you saying that before. Enjoying watching your house build. Interested in what building inspections you have to do, or is that something you look after your builder? Right, so about that, I don't know if I want to say this on YouTube, but my particular county does not have any home inspections. We don't have electrical inspector, we don't have a plumbing inspector, we don't have foundation, none of it. The only thing that matters and that they care about is the septic system and the leach field and where the well is, and that I get a permit for that. So we're gonna do a really good job on that. We're gonna do a really good job on the whole project. But I don't have to worry about somebody looking over our shoulder or paying the permits for it or something. I was saying something to my builder about that, and he said, you know, we do everything right, but when we build in Michigan, we have to tell them how many windows are in a house, and they charge us 35 bucks a window for an inspection fee. Like, we don't have that, and it's awesome. So, yeah, it's it's surprising, but it's kind of a nice thing. So, yeah. Planting beans, my DB90 is having problems. Hold on. Okay. We're going to get the combine out to get it ready for wheat. Well, we don't have a ton to do to the combine. We do need to go through the draper head yet. That's usually something we do right before wheat harvest. So after we're done side dressing, we get some of the spring equipment cleaned up, put back away, then we'll get the combine out. And I was laughing there because I saw the next comment from my wife. Oh, heck yes. Let's go. That is referring to getting the boat out. So I am way behind in the chat here. I apologize for that. But yeah, looks like I'm going to the lake this weekend, guys. Have you ran the 8RX? I have not run an 8RX, but I would love to. You got good kids, sir. Yes, I have awesome kids. And it's been great having them with me a lot here this spring. So I was kind of supposed to have them tomorrow, but tomorrow is not a great day for me being back at Berkey and back and forth and stuff. So my wife's going to take the morning off, and then she found somebody else to watch them for a little while. So I appreciate that. But that was kind of the point of me taking care of them a lot back in April and the first part of May when I wasn't busy, is that when I got busy, she wouldn't have already missed a bunch of work and would be able to take a day or two here and there. So. Will you run your irrigation this summer? Yes, we're planning on it. Now, this is all weather dependent and obviously need dependent, but I do not have a cornfield along the river where we pull water from that I can irrigate. So the plan is to do the same field we did last year and do some soybeans. Right or wrong, good or bad, I don't know, but that's what we're gonna do. Let me move this. I'm doing a time lapse over here and trying to get different views around the cab. Let me find a different one. Let's see. What do you guys want to see tomorrow? How about that? We'll do that. Thumbs up, guys. Support your local farmer. Thank you. 162. Hi from Jackson. Why don't you roll the beans after planting like other YouTubers? Well, we don't need to. I don't know. I've seen people do that. I've never seen a ton of it around here. My understanding is they're rolling them to knock rocks down. And when we're doing our spring tillage, we're pulling those brilliant Cultipackers behind our field cultivator or our disc. It does a pretty good job of mashing the rocks down. I'm not saying it wouldn't help or be a good thing and make harvest easier. I'm just saying that we don't really have a need to, I don't think. And we don't have a roller, so that's why. When you say it's time to trade for the planter, is that based on acres or age? Well, that depends. It's not really an acres thing. It's a condition of the planter. It's a financial situation and other equipment needs versus planter equipment needs. And in the past, it's been about acres and need to, not acres on the planter, acres that we're farming and the need to get it done faster and whether we need to upgrade planters or not. So Back in, let's see, 1998, my dad bought a 12-row. We went from a 6 to a 12-row corn planter then. We ran that 12-row from 98 until 2009 when we upgraded to the 16-row planter. We only ran that 16-row for 4 years until we got this planter. And this is also 16-row. The biggest difference was that one was a box planter, meaning each individual row had a hopper box on it that you dumped bags into. This one has the CCS tanks where you just dump all the seed in the middle. And that was a huge productivity gain when we did that. And you wouldn't think not adding any rows, it would make that big of a difference, but it did. So we haven't added a ton of acres since then, and we haven't had the need for a bigger planter. So you know, another 3-4 years, it'll probably be time to think about upgrading the corn planter. But like I said, it's not a necessity right now. There are other things that are a bigger need, and a combine is going to be one of those. And at some point, a tractor to replace that 8430 or move it down the line is going to be a little bit more important than a corn planter. And you know, the air seeder was a nice thing to do. The backhoe was a nice thing to do. Although, like I said in the one video, those were relatively minor purchases, which when you spend $50,000 on a backhoe, it doesn't sound like a minor purchase, but after we sold our other one and for what the trade difference was and what we were upgrading to compared to what a new combine costs, it's relatively minor for an operation our size. So tractors and combines and planters and even tillage equipment sometimes, those are major purchases. Like I said, a new planter decked out the way that I want would be a $300,000 planter. It's hard to fathom, but that's where it's at. My dad plants corn in 15-inch rows. All right, there's some dairies around here that do that. There's my wave. Nice. How many gallons per hour are you using planting? 8.3 it says. 8.3. We're planting 24 acres an hour on average. Rather go slower with the planter. I don't know you got a perfect conditions to go that fast. Yeah, Scott, that's the other thing about them high-speed planters is we can't always drive 10 mile an hour. I just think those planters are more accurate to start with. And so while this planter's doing a pretty good job, a high-speed planter at 7 miles an hour is going to do a better job than this one at 5. A high-speed planter at 5 miles an hour is going to do better than this one at 5 miles an hour. And a lot of those add-on things like the hydraulic downforce would be better than the air downforce that I have now, regardless of how fast I want to go. So it's not entirely about speed. It's also about the quality of the job you're doing. Irrigated soybeans this year. Yes, that's the plan. How's your dad coming on your counters for your new house? Not working on counters yet. Go and hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks, Michael. Yes, do that. Hit that like and subscribe button. You're lucky to get rain here in mid-Michigan. It's really dry, but everything is planted. Yeah, so, Jim, I have heard that mid-Michigan has been way ahead of us on planting pace, and things are getting in, but I know it's dry to the north. We've been, I don't want to say lucky because we're wet and we can't get stuff planted, but it is nice to have the moisture and be able to get things growing. And I mean, we're set up pretty well right now. If you look at the U.S. Drought Monitor maps, we're right on the southern edge of what they consider a moderate drought, but it's worse to the north. So yeah, I've heard of that. Does Golden Harvest sell sweet corn? Golden Harvest does not. Syngenta, which is our parent company, has sweet corn line that they sell, and that's what I generally get to give to my customers and stuff, but I don't sell sweet corn, no. You do a great job, Nathan, with your explanations of what some of us wish to be doing right next to you. Yeah, thank you. What does your wife do for work? My wife is the office manager / accountant for the local Ford dealer. they build your closets, line them with OSB boards, then put the drywall up. That way when you do put up the shelving and your boards have something to screw to. Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you know how much OSB costs though? Just saying. Yeah, no, we've talked about closets a little bit and some of that stuff, and I'm going to be a little bit picky with the shelving that goes in our closets. I'm not putting up that dang wire racking that has the knee brace like our house now that is pulled out of the wall because they anchored it to drywall and didn't even find the studs to anchor it to. Brilliant, I tell you. Building permit can cost me up to $20,000. I have a truckload of inspections. I'm moving your business. I'm moving our business to Ohio. Well, it's not about where the business is. It's about where you build. But holy crap, $20,000 for a building permit? My building permit, which they call a notice, costs $25, and it's only so that they know that I'm building something and they can come out and tax the crap out of me when it's done. Where's Brock? Brock's at work. He had to go to his full-time job tonight. He was here this morning though, drove tractor for us for a while. What was wrong with the planter monitor? Yeah, I haven't entirely figured that out yet. It's working, so you'll see this in tomorrow's video. I think I did a good job of filming it, or at least a acceptable job of filming it, but I brought a display from the sprayer down here, 2630, and swapped displays, and all of a sudden it started working. That led to some other issues that I had to get addressed, and then all of a sudden I had fertilizer issues. I have a variable rate fertilizer system on here. It's what I run that brown box display for, and for whatever reason, it quit adjusting right, and I was having a heck of a time. There's a way to lock it in, so I locked it on a rate so it just wouldn't adjust, and then it was yelling at me all day, beeping and making all kinds of noise. So I ended up having the dealer come out. They were here this afternoon trying to diagnose stuff a little bit. When he was here, we put my original monitor back in, took the one from the sprayer out. Everything just worked. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it worked. The fertilizer's still giving us issues. He made it quit beeping at me, but I don't have variable rate fertilizer right now. And it took a long time to diagnose that and figure out what the heck was going on. We still don't really know what the problem is, because there's the way that the fertilizer, the variable rate on this system works is there's a motor with a gear on it that spins another gear, and it changes the displacement of the piston stroke on the fertilizer pump, the variable rate, or the piston. Yeah, the piston pump is driven from a drive tire a contact tire on the wheel of the planter. The way you change the rates is change how much that stroke changes with every rotation of the tire. And so there's a gear on there and a motor, and it turns it. Well, in order for that system to work, it has to know what position it's in. So there's a position sensor on the gear. It also has to know what the speed of it is, so it can calculate the rate. And so we thought it had to be one of those two sensors. Doesn't seem to be that, because it knows that it's putting on way too much. It's calculating out what it's actually putting on, and it was telling me it was putting on 36 gallons per acre when it was supposed to be doing 16. And so it knew exactly what it was doing, but it kept giving me an error message that said it was under applying, and it had cranked the gear on the displacement change thing up to the maximum rate, and it was saying it still couldn't get it to put on enough, but it was putting on way too much. It's like something happened with the brain box on the fertilizer system. I have a feeling it's going to get expensive and cost me I'm going to be buying a computer before we're said and done with this, but it's working for right now, so we're going to leave it go. Tractor and combine have more return on investment than a planter. Yes and no. A planter is probably more critical as far as doing a good job and as long as it's working and stuff. But you have a lot more use for a tractor. You got a lot, you're doing a lot of different things with it. And a combine is just, so the way we look at a combine is that's just an expense you're gonna have. You can't farm without a combine or some sort of harvesting expense if you're gonna custom hire it. And so you're just gonna figure you gotta budget so much cost per acre to harvest your crops. And if we were hiring it done, I bet we would be paying rates of $30 to $35 an acre for a custom harvester. Now there's not a lot of those around here. very few people that don't own their own combine. It's not like out west where they have harvest crews that go around and harvest all the crops. So even if you take that number times the number of acres that we have, multiply that by how many years we keep a combine, we can justify a really expensive combine. But let's take half of that, right? So let's say we want to spend $15 an acre on a combine. And so if we need if we're going to take out an equipment loan, you're going to pay 15 bucks an acre times 3,000 acres. Well, that's $45,000 a year that you can make a combine payment on. That's still a really nice combine, and by the time you figure in some trade-in differences and stuff, you can justify that. So we're to the end of the lifespan for us on our S680. I think it's going to get run this year yet, and then next winter we'll be looking for a combine, but we'll see. When trading a tractor, we trade off the 8300, move the 8430 to the second tillage spot. Hopefully that would be a slight increase in horsepower. That would be a pretty major increase in horsepower. Phil mentioned that. That's what he would like to do, is trade off the 8300. Dad really likes the 8300 though, so I have a feeling it's not going to leave. And the 8430 really makes more sense to replace and trade that one off, because it's overpowered for what we use the 8300 for, really for anything but some of the tillage. But it would be a good backup tractor if this one were to go down, or the new one, for whatever reason. So I don't know how that would work yet. The other thing is, well, the 8300 or the 8000 series Deeres have kind of increased in value over the last year or two, but the 8430 is worth a lot more, and so there's a bigger trade difference if you trade the 8300 versus the 8430. Do you guys like the tires on the 9R, or would you guys get a 9RX? I mean, I would love a 9RX. 9RXs are $100,000 more than the same tractor on tires. And I really want to go to tracks on planting tractors, row crop tractors. It's harder for me to justify on a tillage tractor. So, yeah, it'd be awesome, but you still got to pay for it. Chicken and a biscuit yet, and Dr. Pepper. I polished off box number 2 today. So, yeah. In the long run, if you plan to stay on the 16-row planter, there's more return if you just put the upgrades. Well, maybe. You might be right. I don't see us going to a 24-row corn planter because I just have absolutely no need for it. I'd rather go to a 16-row high speed than to a 24. Taylor, you know that I know you're just like making this stuff up, right? Because there aren't any X9 1100s to be run yet. So, I mean, you can keep typing it, but I don't believe you. When was the last time it rained? It rained here on Sunday, a week ago yesterday, and we had 9/10 out of that. Thanks for joining, Scott. How long are we? 48 minutes. Oh, we're all right. Closets should become a panic room. Yeah. What's the collars in front of row cleaners for nitrogen? It's the coulters in front of row cleaners for nitrogen. Yeah, so you're looking at my planter. So I don't actually have row cleaners on this planter. I do have a no-till coulter right in front of the planter row unit. But yes, the fertilizer openers are on those little arms out in front there. And so that's putting on the starter fertilizer. It's not just nitrogen. It's a blend of 1034O, some ammonium thiosulfate, a little bit of zinc, and a little bit of boron. And in this load, I think a little bit of water because I left a valve open. Whoops. Who do you listen to? Agronomist, seed salesman, or your gut, even though you're the seed guy? Well, my agronomist works for the seed company, so the seed and the agronomist are kind of the same there. But it depends on what we're talking about. 3 or 4 weeks ago when we had to have nice, dry, good planting conditions, but they were calling for cold and snow, everybody, my agronomist, everybody was telling me don't plant, don't plant, don't plant. And that corn that I did, because I had to plant something, looks really good. So I'm kind of wishing I would have planted more then, but you just don't know. So you try and do the best and take everybody's advice as much as you can. Need a peek at your snack bank. The snack bank's pretty empty at the moment. I've got a few of these left. And I think that's about it. That is about it today. I had a can of Lay's potato chips. Those are gone. And my water. Hello from Denmark. We're getting down to the end of this field here. Got what? 1, 2, 3 more rounds. With the 2x2x2 starter fertilizer setup, will you just split the current starter fertilizer or put something different to one side? So with a 2x2x2, you're splitting your stream and you're putting the same thing just on both sides of the row. But what I would do different is put in furrow in addition to that. So it would be 2 separate products, one for the in furrow and one for the 2x2x2. And the reason for that is you can put some low salt pop-up fertilizer type stuff right in furrow, so that as soon as that seed germinates, it's got access to it. And then in the 2x2, you can use some more concentrated or potent stuff, I guess, that may have a higher salt content that would be toxic if it was right on the seed, but you can get away with it 2 inches or 3 inches away from the seed, and put a little bit more nitrogen or the ATS for sulfur or some boron, the kind of stuff that you can't put in furrow. So that would be ideal, but we'll see. Is there any danger to breathing inoculants as in other dressing in seeds? Yeah, probably. The inoculant, I don't know if that's too bad. In my inoculant, it comes in liquid form. You can buy stuff in a dry powder that's got a peat moss carrier a lot of times. I mean, you don't want to be breathing this stuff in. The dust coming off of the seed when we're loading, you know, a lot of that is talc. Talc is just baby powder. So do you want talc in your lungs? No, not really. Should I wear a mask? Probably. But it's usually just such a quick thing, and I don't carry one with me, and it's, yeah. So, you know, if you're in dusty or those kind of conditions and environments long term, I would not want to be breathing it in. But very limited exposure, I don't think it's going to do too much damage to me. You seen any bricks out in the fields this year yet? Nice memory, Michael. I'm impressed. No, that field went to beans. Phil planted it the other day, so I have not seen any bricks. Last year when I was planting one of my fields, we have a farm that used to have a brick factory in it, so every now and then we find bricks. I live in Central Illinois. A lot of guys run the 9RX around here. Yeah, I know they're popular. A lot of guys have them. And there's some Case quad tracks around here. A few Deere RXs, just not a lot. The Menards lumber section. Yep, I've heard that one. And it's true. As an IT guy, when you have issues with technology, we say you aren't angling your head right. Once you move your head, it all works. Yeah, now that could be. Just turn the tractor a little bit, right? Yeah. SoCo and Dr. Pepper the Lake weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad day. 8300 is becoming a classic. It's getting there. Any chance of acquiring more ground in the next year or two? There's always a chance. Nothing imminent, but or nothing that I know of. But you never turn something down when somebody walks in the door. Well, I shouldn't say that. You never turn something down when somebody walks in the door that's reasonable. So. Ever think about the other color of equipment? Honestly, not really. Every time I have a dealing with our local Case dealer, I walk away thanking my dad for not buying red equipment when I was a kid. In fact, just the other week or two ago when I was looking for some stuff for that Case backhoe, and I get a Case backhoe is not the same as Case IH red tractors. I fully understand that, right? I didn't expect anything, but I was looking for a drain plug. You guys remember the drain plug on the transmission? I looked it up online on the Case construction website, and I found the part number. That part number crossed onto their ag side. So I thought, well, maybe the ag dealer will have this. So I stopped there because it's on the way to the Case Construction and Dealer. And I mean, it's such a different feeling walking into my Deere dealer or any John Deere dealer, it seems like, than it is into the Case dealer. And I have no desire to do business there. It's not so much that I hate their equipment or I don't want to run it. I don't, but if I had a good dealer and good support system, it would be completely different. Same thing with the AGCO side of it. I would be totally open to trying a fence or some of that kind of stuff. Last time I went into our local, which it's an hour away or a little bit more, Fit Challenger dealer, like, they let me stand there in their parts, standing in their parts counter, or right at their parts counter, for 10 minutes before they acknowledged my presence, and there was 3 people behind the counter not doing anything. And it's like, treat me like a customer. Like, I know I'm a younger guy, but I'm here for a reason. I need stuff. And it's so frustrating because I want to do business with people and they don't want to do business with me, and I don't understand that. Anyway, sorry, there's a rant for the day. What's the story with that barking dog we hear in some of your videos but never see, and why is he tied up? Yeah, that's my sister's dog, I guess. My sister that just went to college. She decided she needed a dog when she was a junior in high school, so my dad let her get one. And we're not the best dog owners because we didn't work with it, didn't do a lot of training and stuff. And so she kind of tried and did some stuff, and then she left for college, and the dog was running and jumping and getting into stuff, so Dad tied it up, and it barks out there. And then last summer, when my sister was home, she did a really good job working with the dog and keeping it around, and it was off, it was out running around and free and stuff. And then late last summer, one of the neighbors a mile and a half away called and said the dog was down there, and Dad's like, yep, that's it. And so he tied it up again. And yeah, so it's not my favorite situation, but we're not dog in the house people. At least I am not, and my mom is not. And so we had a Jack Russell Terrier before we got this dog that was awesome, and he would just follow us around. He would ride in the tractors with me. We loved that dog. He was little, which was nice, but he would just hang out in the shop and stuff, and that was great. This dog has not been so great. Anyway, Ontario, it's dry, just like mid-Michigan, I guess. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? I did that lots of times, because I'm like, well, let's try it again. Didn't work. Went by a field today, there was 4-inch tall corn. Nice. I haven't seen any quite that big around here yet. It does start to have some better color though. Man, that early corn was coming up. It was so yellow because it was so cold, and now that we got some sun and heat, it was looking a lot better. Are you going to wash the bean planter this year because you didn't last year? Yeah, thanks, Patrick. Brock is going to wash the bean planter for me this year. The problem here is, right, so we're going to double crop beans, so we won't want to do it until after that. So it's going to sit until probably August, to be honest. Maybe late July before we get to cleaning it up. But hopefully we'll have time to get the corn planter put up, cleaned up and put away before wheat harvest here, and we'll get caught up on some of that spring stuff. Last year, with all the replant corn that we had, and then having to get stuff side dressed so quickly, we didn't have time between spring work and summer work to get the equipment cleaned up and put away. And this year, at least at the moment, looks like it's going to get better. We could get 4 inches of rain this weekend and have to replant all this and be screwed. You never know, but right now, things look a little better. You have a tank behind the planter? I do have a tank behind the planter. You sent fertilizer samples in to be analyzed. What was it what it's supposed to be? Fertilizer sample. Did I do that this year? I did last year on our starter. I don't think I pulled one this year. Dad sent some wheat samples in. But yes, when I have done that, they've been relatively close to what they were supposed to be. If you watched his videos, you should know there's a tank. Yeah. Thank you. Boys can't wait for you to see their jammies. Maybe they am. Aw. Yeah. You guys, I'm doing a live stream with you instead of a FaceTime with my kids tonight. Gonna keep it and be watching. Keep going and be watching. Thanks for everything. And, yep. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for checking in and tuning in and asking questions. Appreciate it. If you like running a liquid system, have you ever compared it to dry? Something I wonder about dry fertilizer here. All dry fertilizer. Wow. So liquid is a lot easier to handle than dry. Sorry, I gotta get comfortable. We're gonna do that. Liquid is a lot easier to handle than dry, and dry you have to use a lot more volume. So I have no interest to go to dry fertilizer. In fact, they don't even really make planters with dry fertilizer anymore. The only thing that does interest me about that is strip till potential. If you guys watch Brian's farming videos, if you don't, you should. They're great. What he is doing with strip till is exactly what I want to do. Except I want to do the strips in the fall and not the spring. I think that is a far and away a better way to do it. Instead of broadcasting your fertilizer, to put it right in a band right underneath where the row of corn is going to be and let them roots grow right into it instead of having to go search through the whole soil profile. So that's where I want to use dry fertilizer. It would not replace the liquid on the planter because the liquid on the planter is not there to provide the bulk of our fertility needs. The liquid on the planter is there because in the spring, when we have cold and sometimes wet soils, phosphorus in particular can get tied up in the soil and be unavailable to the seedlings. And so I want them to be able to get it as easily as possible, as quickly as possible when they just start growing, so that we don't have deficiencies. And it's not that our soils are deficient in phosphorus, it's just that they can't get it. And so by putting it in a band right there by the seed, they can get it better and get off to a better start. Now I do use it to provide some of those leachable nutrients, micros like the boron and the zinc and the sulfur to an extent. Things that you have to add every year that aren't there, but it's such a small rate for the most part that you can't just broadcast it or anything, because I mean we're using a quart to the acre of boron, and that's all the plant's going to need for the whole year. So that's a tiny amount. Has Dad tried the new backhoe yet? We haven't even got the new backhoe yet. It may have come today, although I don't think so. We're hoping it comes here real quick, but we haven't gotten it yet. Enjoy watching Zach, Wilkers, Larson's, even Cole the Corn Star. They're entertaining, but I thoroughly enjoy watching you and your boys the most. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Is Phil and Jim related millennial farm? I don't think so. What's your favorite tractor on the farm? The one I'm sitting in. I love this tractor, the 8335R. It's so smooth. It's so nice. This is my favorite. Do you do any tissue samples on corn? Occasionally, we have in the past. Nothing consistently. We've talked about doing it more, but we have not. Probably should. Can you conference call the boys into the live? No, I don't think I can do that with them live on the YouTube. Yeah, I probably could get them on my iPad, but I'm using that for my monitor stuff. Is the Berkey grain bin system empty? Yes, we have emptied that out here back in April, so those bins are all empty and cleaned out. Love Brian. This is the kind of dog you need. Yeah, the dog that just sits in the gator all day. Will you be getting an Exact-Emerge planter soon? I would like an Exact-Emerge planter. It won't happen anytime soon. Echoing the comments above, your channel is most educational and explaining. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hi from Australia. Love your channel. That works. I can't watch the whole stream, but just dropping by. Thank you. Seems like growers are moving towards on-site storage. How will the small guys survive? Well, I mean, they still have to sell stuff, so just because the elevator, or they're storing stuff on farm, the elevator still can buy it. I don't know. I see what you're saying there, but you still got to go somewhere. Jim's willing to go on video. Yeah, that's right. Jim is willing to go on video. Good connection, clear, solid signal. Yeah, we've done well tonight. 5G, man. It's awesome. Thanks for the compliments there, guys. All right, I've got about a round left here. Round and a half in this field. I've got to drive a little bit. I'm going to wrap this live stream up about the time we're finishing this field because I got to do a bunch of end rows in the next one and stuff. So, if you got any more questions, get them in here. I'll try and answer them. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys all watching. I appreciate, you know, the consistent support every day. It's been awesome. Do the Amish make the horse? I don't have an answer for you there. Probably both contributing factors. Corn combine, corn auger videos when I first saw your videos. I'm gonna assume that you meant when we broke the auger on the combine. That was actually this field, right over there. That's where that happened. How long are the rounds in this field? Yeah, this is half-mile long rows, or darn close to it. So these are long rows, especially with my low-speed planter that takes forever to get across them. Call the boys, yeah. Putting any in-furrow fungicide. I do not have in-furrow on this planter, just 2x2, which looks like I'm gonna have to go back and fill up for fertilizer when I get done here, which makes sense. I had 95 acres and I had 1,200 gallons when I started. Yeah, should be about empty. It is really nice pulling that, like, that tank is cumbersome a little bit and it's heavy. The worst part about it is it's heavy. But it's so nice to be able to go and plant 100 acres and not have to stop for fertilizer or worry about it at all. You just go. Like, I don't have to stop and fill up. I had to get seed, but that was because I came with a half-empty tank anyway. Yeah, I guess we're good there. It's supposed to be the broken auger. Yeah, broken auger. Yep, that was this field. Did you get the YouTube get their bot issue fixed? Well, I don't know if I would say fixed, but it hasn't been an issue since October. I never did get paid for the month of October, but every month since has been okay, so. Good stuff tonight. Thanks for the info. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. We'll say that you do the most explaining of why you're doing what you're doing compared to other farm YouTubers. They're right here this evening, so time to get caught up on YouTube. Yeah, I honestly, I just don't know how else to do it. I kind of, when I started this, I wasn't intending to do it every day, but it's how it evolved and it's how it happened, and I don't know when to stop filming, as evident by the 40-minute video the other day, so I just film, and if I think it's worthy of being on the camera, then it gets put into the video. I rarely cut anything, but it is what it is. Oh, look, maybe. Flip. You see it? Pheasant. I don't understand why you don't have 100,000 subscribers. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't either. No, I do know why. It's because it's a saturated market and I was late to the party. And that's okay. I've been growing relatively slowly and consistently, and I'm fine with that. 100,000, yeah, that'd be great, but whatever. I'm happy with my 16. I was sort of hoping I would get to 25,000 by the end of the year. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not really on pace to do that, but you never know. If you guys share this video a little bit more, I would get there faster. You enjoy watching this shaky view of a pheasant running along the wheat field there? Yeah. You side dress all your corn with anhydrous? Yes, we side dress all of our corn with anhydrous. Wheat looks good. Yeah, that wheat does look pretty good. It's not ours. It's a little yellow, but all the wheat's a little yellow. Let's try not to hit this big yellow post up here. Where's that pheasant gonna go now? We run out of room there. Oh, made the turn. So this is also our field. We go around it, but I consider it a separate field. Hold on. Oh, that was close. There's probably a little bit of yellow paint on the end of my planter right there. All right. Great job. You're going to do another field tonight. I'm planning on doing this 40 acres here. Like I said earlier, Dad took my truck back, so whenever Phil decides he's going to quit and go home, I got to quit and go home with him. So it's only 8 o'clock. I imagine he'll be here for a couple hours. Should give me time to do that 40. I can do about 20 acres an hour, so yeah. Keep up the good work. Have a good night. You're a good man, Nathan. Thank you. You thought about having the tank mounted on the tractor instead of behind the planter? I have considered that in the past, but I can't put 1,600 gallons on this tractor. I don't like the tanks that sit outside the tires because it's so wide you can't go down the road. And 300 gallons on the front of the tractor isn't the same as 1,600 gallons out back. So it just doesn't work with my setup. If I had tracks and I could do inboard tanks, then it's a different story. But I have not. Please tell me I will use this. I'm learning in high school in farming. You'd be surprised. I use more math than people would think, and yeah, it's important. Pay attention. 16.3, yes, 16.3. Thank you. No wheat at Berkey, right? Not this year. We are planning on planting wheat here this fall, so the beans Phil is planting our early season beans. We might even start, well, we probably won't, but we'll be down here early with harvest doing beans so we can get the wheat planted. Does Dad ever run the planters? Rarely. Nope. I took over planting the corn for Dad. Let's see, what year was that? 2011? I think it was 2011. In 2010, I had planted a little bit for Dad. We'd trade back and forth. And then in 2011, my dad was gone one day. I don't know if it was a ball game or a meeting or something. And I thought we were ready to start planting corn. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm going to go plant this 20 acres over here. I jumped in the planter and he's never been back in it since. Like, I was just going to do the one field, but he pretty much like, all right, you do it. So I did. And we haven't switched back yet. And he enjoys it because he doesn't have to worry about it. And he does all the spraying, so it's a lot easier on him not having to do everything. So, yeah. So that was the last year we planted with the 8300. We had the old 16-year-old planter. The next year, we got this tractor. We pulled the old planter with this tractor for 1 year, and then we got this planter. So, yeah, that's how I remember all of that. Chased a groundhog across the field yesterday. Will you ever look at 28 instead of anhydrous? Not unless I have to. Meaning they don't sell us anhydrous anymore, but I would rather not use 28, let's say. So, is your dad caught up on the spraying? Well, he was close to caught up on the spraying before we started this week, but he hasn't done any spraying since we've been back in the field, so that needs to happen quickly. The move to Berkey has delayed him getting it going, and so we're a little behind there, but he can spray so much faster than we can plant. It'll take him 2 days to get caught up to what we've done in 4 or 5, so yeah, not a big deal there. Have you ever hit a utility pole? Well, that depends on what you mean by hit. You mean hit a utility pole like I just hit that yellow post there? Yeah, we've nudged them, bumped them, scraped them, scabbed them up a little bit. Actually hit one and done damage to the point where it's a problem? No, I have not. I did have an employee one time that caught a guy wire with a packer and brought a pole down on top of him. That's the worst case, but yeah, it happens. See, here in Ohio, there's no poles in the field, so there's nothing to hit. How dry are you out there? I'm no-tilling in Connecticut because it's so dry. We are not dry here. It is marginally okay for us to be out here planting. It is not too dry by any means. There are spots in this field that are too soft for me to be out here, but we're doing it anyway because it's the 17th of May and we got to get it done. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it right there. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all your comments and questions throughout the night. We'll do another live stream sometime from the anhydrous bar, side dressing, same setup, just different job. And hopefully we'll wrap up planting the next couple of days here. Check in tomorrow for tomorrow's video. and make sure you catch yourself on the old YouTube here. So, see you guys.